Hey, this is KP with Team PCD. I decided to take Purrely to the Houston Regional. In hindsight, it probably wasn't the best idea. There were 600 players there. There's 10 rounds of Swiss. I feel like this kind of deck might do better in an 8-round tournament, but with it being a 10-round tournament, it was a little bit more dicey. So spoiler alert, I did not do that great with the deck. So if you're looking for a top 64, very competitive deck profile, you might want to move on. But if you're interested in the deck or just wanted to learn a little bit about the cards or have something new to play for locals, or if you want to be risky and try and take it to an event, you can. Then here's the deck profile. So starting with the monsters, and I don't know if it's pronounced Purrely or just Purrely. I just call him Purrely, it's easier. This is the main monster, really the only monster in the deck right now until the new cards come out. But when it's summoned, not once per turn, it's like a prosperity for 3. You reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and you can add a spell or trap Purrely card. The other effect is you can reveal a quick play in your hand and use it to XYZ summon one that has that card's name in its text. For the next monster, all the Purrely quick plays discard a card in your hand to E-Telly this guy out. So you want discard fodder. So I'm playing the Crystal Beast package with the Rainbow Bridge to search a field spell. It adds a field spell and a monster, so you get extra cards you can discard. I play the Nimble package. All the XYs can be summoned generically with 2 level 2s. So because of that, it's not a bad idea to play the Beaver and Anglers, and you can discard the Angler for your quick plays, and that just adds a lot of advantage and deck thins. Deck thinning is really good in this deck because it helps your top decks when you're revealing with the Purrely. But these can just get you any XE you want going second or going first. You just kind of make the one that's the best for the situation. 2 of the field spell. Your Purrely monsters that are special summoned can't be targeted the turn they're summoned. During the end phase, you can attach a quick play to one of your XEs, and then if your XE leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can summon a Purrely from your grave or deck. Usually you want to just summon from your grave because it's just free. 3 Pretty Memory. This one is the easiest one to use going first because you each gain 1,000 life points, and then, like I said, they're like E-Tallies. You discard a card from your hand to special a Purrely from your deck. But you can, when you activate it, it can be ashed, and you won't gain 1,000 or discard, so none of that's cost. So if they ash you, you really don't lose very much. You just lose that 1 card, and then you can try again to play through ash. Also, each of the quick plays have a added effect that they give the XE monster. This one's a really strong one. It's only on your turn, but it's once per copy. So if your XE monster has 2 or 3 of these, you get to use it 2 or 3 times. But you can send a card you control to the graveyard as cost and target a card on the field, and then attach it as a material. So that is really powerful. 3 Delicious. This one's the best one for your XE summon, but you have to choose a monster on the field that can't be destroyed battle for the end until the end of your opponent's turn. So going first, that's really hard unless you already committed a monster. So that's why it's a little bit more restrictive, but it's really strong because it's one of the best XEs that you can make. And then it has the E-Telly effect, discard to special. And then the added effect it gives your XE is probably the best one for like playing it more safe. Is per copy, you gain 300 attack and defense for every XE material. So you can have up to 900 each. There's one duel against a branded player where I had 10 materials and I had 3 of these under it. So it's gaining 9,000 attack and defense. So that's really strong. But a lot of times you still don't kill your opponent because if you used 1, 2, or 3 of this card, then your opponent gains between 1,000 and 3,000 life points. So even though you're at like 11,000 attack, you still can't kill them sometimes just because of the way the game goes. 3 Happy Memory. This is the best one for going second because of the XE that you can make. But you can choose a card on the field. Can't be destroyed by card effects first time until your end of your opponent's turn. And then you can discard a special. And then the added effect is you can attack as many times as you have this as a material plus 1. So if you have all 3, you can attack 4 times. So that it's really good. The last of the Purrely cards, Purrely spells, is my friend Purrely. You can reveal 3 Purrely cards in your deck, and 1 gets added to your hand randomly. A lot of times you're just going to add 3 of the same copy so that you guarantee that you add it to your hand. Its bonus effect, since it's a continuous card, it stays on the field. If your XE leaves the field, you can add up to 3 of the quick plays from your grave to your hand. So it just adds a lot of follow-up plays. If you're doing your full combo and your opponent nibs you, you can add all 3 from your grave to your hand and still make a board. So that's pretty good. 3 prosperity for consistency. You don't have any other draw cards in this deck, so there's nothing conflicts. So it's pretty good. I didn't play any hand traps. I think going back now, if I was to do it again, I definitely would have played hand traps. There's a lot of situations where I'll just let my opponent play, and they would set up stuff that the Dark Rulers and my other cards wasn't good enough to stop them. Like Kashtira locking all my zones, all my spells in trap zones. So basically they're just dead cards. So I definitely would have played hand traps if I was to go back. So 3 Dark Ruler, 3 Book of Eclipse, and then for the traps I played 3 evenly. So I just played 9 hard going second cards. The reason why is this deck discards cards from my hand during my combo. So these would just be fodder. I didn't care if I drew them. It didn't hurt me at all if I drew them. But going second, this deck had a hard time going second. So I wanted cards that could just give me a better chance of winning. So that was the theory behind that. They did pretty well, except for, like I said, Kashtira in some certain situations. Then 3 of the Rainbow Bridge. Like I said, you discard it, and then you can banish it to add the Cobalt Eagle and a field spell. You can also chain it to your Purrely's effects, so before you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, you banish, add 2, and that helps you deck then. Same thing with the Anglers. Anything that helps you deck then makes it easier to hopefully reveal a Purrely card off of your effect. And then the last traps is 2 of, I don't really know how to say it, but it's the Purrely trap. This is one of the only cards that adds like follow-up plays, because you can banish it from your graveyard, target up to 3 Purrely monsters, and put them back in your deck. A lot of times when you use all 3 Purrelys, you lose, because right now those are the only 3 monsters we have. When the new monster comes out, you have a lot more follow-up, but right now you're really restricted. So that's why I played 2. It has another effect where you can rank. You can summon an XZ of a different rank for your Purrelys. That didn't really come up very much. And it also, you have to like bounce it back to your extra deck at the end of your next turn. So that can kind of like hurt you if your opponent's able to wait you out. But like I said, I didn't really use it for that effect. I tried to use it for recycling my monsters so I'd have more follow-up plays. For the extra deck, 1 Nightingale for turboing out a Zeus, 1 Robin. This was like one of the main plays going first. It's like a double compulse. 2 of the Plump. It's one of the best ones for setting up your first turn board. And like I said, you can make it with Beaver because it just takes 2 level 2s. But the main way you'd like to summon it is using Purrely and Delicious Memory in hand to make it. And then you can target up to 2 spells and traps in the graveyards, either player's graveyard, to attach as a material. So now you have 4 materials, and you need 5 to make Noir. And that's the boss monster. If you have Delicious under it, it's a quick effect that can come up when you're playing its trap tricks. If they try and target one of their traps to set, or the Holtea if you want to bait it, things like that. So that's pretty good. And they all the XEs, rank 2 XZs have the effect where if you activate a quick play Purrely, you can up to 3 times per turn attach it as a material. So that can kind of help get you to the materials you need. And then also if you activated one, you can banish a monster on the field till the end phase. The next one's Beauty. It's kind of like a quick effect Imperm or Veiler. And then its added effect is when you activate a quick play, you can change the battle position of a monster. I didn't really use it too often, except for like if my opponent has like a Rafflesia or something on the board and I need to try and bait it out or negate it, I'll summon this first and then try and negate it. And then this card is maybe one of the most broken cards in the entire game, in my opinion. Happiness. It's 2000 attack, and you can summon it with Beaver, but the best play is to make it with Happy Memory. And what you can do is every time you attack your opponent, you get to add any Purrely card from your deck to your hand. And what you want to do is add this card, activate it. You can make a monster or any card on the field where it can be destroyed by card effects the first time till the end of the next turn, and then use its effect to attach it as Chain Link 2, and then you get an extra attack. So you can attack, attach this, attack, search another one, attack again, and you can attack multiple times. And there's even ways to OTK your opponent with this card, because its added effect is after you attacked, you can half your opponent's attack and defense. Well, it might be just the attack. Yeah, just the attack. So you can half your opponent's attack them again, half their attack them again, and attack them up to 4 times. And then if you have Delicious Memory under it, you can, what you usually like to do is try and do Delicious Memory on your opponent's monster to where it can't be destroyed by battle till the end of the next turn. And then you attach it to this, and then that makes it to where you have even more attack, because you'll have like 3 materials, so you're gaining 900 attack, so you're at 29. You attack them, half their attack, search this, and then put it under and attack like a few more times. So it's really strong. You either add a bunch of cards or you do a lot of damage, and then you're also getting a lot of materials so you can summon your boss monster. 1 Downward Magician, 2 Noir. This is the boss monster. If you have 5 or more materials, it's unaffected by all activated effects. And then if you have the level 1 under it, the next it's a quick effect. You can detach 2, target 1 card on the field, on your opponent's field or graveyard, and put it to the bottom of their deck. So if you have like a lot of materials under this, like 8 or 10, then you can get rid of up to 4 to 5 of your opponent's cards. And a lot of times, I mean, like if you can pull that off, they're probably not winning anyway. But a lot of times you kind of want to just kind of sit on it and not detach until they have an out. If they have a card that can out it, then you're kind of forced to detach too. It's 1100 attack, but 2800 defense. And then, like I said, you can get up to 900 attack and defense bonus from Delicious per material. And you want 5 or more materials, so you can kind of do the math. Like, it gets pretty big. It's not hard at all to get it to be past 10,000 defense. So it's a really strong effect. And then, because it's an XE deck, Zeus, technically you can summon both of them in a duel, but the main reason you play 2 is against Kashtira if they want to rip 1. Kashtira has like a weird, they have like a weird time trying to decide what to get rid of out of your extra deck. But having the 2 Zeus kind of makes it to where it's useless to get rid of it. For the links, 1 Relinquish. This card's really good going second. People don't respect the zones, so you just put it in the zone. Like against a Trap Tricks player, I even lead them, and then they kept Rafflesia in that zone, so I just summoned the relinquish to bait out their effect. So that was pretty good. Sprint, you play it because of the combo with anglers and the beavers. One Donner, this is just like generic removal. So like if you make this and they negate it and you summon a Purrely, you can use like those two to make this and then pop a card. And then a lot of times, like if you get the beaver combo going and your Purrely monsters, you get a lot of monsters on the board with Sprint and you get like Sprint, 2 beavers, and then you can summon 2 to 3 Purrelys. So sometimes you can get like a lot of monsters on the board, and if they have a monster on the board, then you can just link it away. But that wraps it up for the extra deck and main deck. I might not have explained all the cards that well, so if you have any questions, you can go ahead and just comment below. I'm going to go ahead and talk about my matchups. So it was round 1 against Branded. I lost a die roll and I won 2-0 going second. I just had really good hands and was able to do my setups. The deck pretty much always did like my main setup. What I would try and go for is Sprint, Nor, and Robin. This was like my generic combo. I'll try to have more than 5 materials under this, and then this would have 2 materials, and then a Sprint. So you have 2 compulses, and then a third compulse, which I would detach from Noir, and then if I had the Purrely under this, it's a quick effect. So really I could get rid of 5-6 cards pretty easily. Sometimes I would summon this using the beavers, because I would make the plump with the beavers and then summon the 2 Purrelys, put under this. So like sometimes this wouldn't be a quick effect, but I just have this as a boss and then 3 compulses. So that just applies a lot of pressure, and then this is already hard to out in the first place. So this was my board I'd usually go for, and I pretty much got it pretty consistently. If I can't get the Sprint out because I didn't draw the others, I still would go for 2 compulses and a Noir pretty consistently. But I beat Branded 2-0 round 1. Round 2, I beat Trap Tricks 2-0. I won the die roll. So I started off kind of hot, and then round 3, I lost to Kashtira. Game 1, I won the die roll. Game 1, I set up my board, won. Game 2, I think he debarriered me. Debarrier just destroys this deck. So, I mean, nothing I could really do there. And then game 3, I set up my full board. I was really confident, and he didn't have an out or anything. He activated Prosperity and revealed Kaiju as like his 5th or 6th reveal, and that just lost me the match because he Kaiju'd my Noir, who had a lot of materials. Round 4, I played against Trap Tricks. I won 2-1. I won the die roll, and I set up my board. In game 1, he evenly'd me, so I kept the Noir, and then he Kaiju'd me. So I was just like, okay, I got absolutely sacked. So I lost that game, but I was able to come back and win the next 2 games. So I won that round. And then round 5 is when things just like took a horrible turn. I played against the Kashtira player who just right off the rip was going for all 5 zones, and he was blocking spell and trap zones. I kind of thought that, at least before, a lot of people would just blindly go after the monster zones, but I don't know if they like changed that up. But he went for the spell and trap zones, and then he looked at my extra deck finally, and then he just committed to the back row zones. I had a Dark Ruler and a Book of Eclipse in hand that I couldn't use, so I couldn't do anything. Game 2, I felt like, okay, I'm going to have to come back and try and win this. And then when I activated one of my Purrely cards, he chained D-Shifter, so that really hurt me. I tried to make the best board I could. I mean, it wasn't a Noir or anything, but I think I tried to have some sort of setup. And then on his turn, he evenly'd me, and then I kept a Book of Eclipse, so I set that. He summoned a monster, I flipped it, he passed. On my turn, I was kind of desperate to try and come back in the duel. I activated one of my Purrely spells, and he ashed it, so I just got completely destroyed. Round 6, I lost the die roll. It was against Branded. He won game 1 because I didn't have a very good hand, his hand wasn't like that great either, but he had too much of a board presence for me to beat him. Game 2, I set up like a 10 material noir, so he had no chance of winning. And then round 3, he gave me a Ra's Disciple, and I just had no out. I activated Prosperity, hoping to draw into a Book of Eclipse, and he ashed my Prosperity, so I just couldn't win. And then round 7, I played against Labyrinth. Shout out to that guy if he watches this. He said he's a big fan of the deck, and I literally played with the deck box in the field center in the tournament. A lot of people didn't expect me to be playing this deck, but that guy's like, I have a feeling you're actually playing this deck. So he like duality'd and revealed a D barrier, and he's like, I'm gonna add this because I really think you're playing this deck. And like I said, D barrier absolutely kills this deck. So he added D barrier, so I lost game 1. And then game 2 was my only brick of the day. I completely bricked. I had no plays. I think I had one play, but he ashed it. So like I just couldn't do anything after that. So yeah, that was like my tournament experience. I dropped after round 7. So not that great after a 10 round. It's a 10-round tournament, dropping at round 7. But all in all, it was a fun deck to play. I'm excited for the new cards to come out. As soon as they come out, I'm be dropping an updated profile. Like I said, you guys have any questions or anything, comment below. And thank you guys. Peace.